All right, so I've had some folks ask me some different things about the Universal Church of Light's public records case against the city of Port Townsend. I want to tell you a little bit more about it. So basically, they like to operate in the dark. They don't want anything going public, okay? So whatever happens within the city of Port Townsend, they probably usually settle with people. Same with the Human Rights Commission. It's all about settling with people so their dirty little secrets don't get out, like hiding the family abuser. So, as you know, I started ordering public records for the press conference the night of the press conference, or that very next day, and getting them. And then all of a sudden, they stopped answering. Okay, so the Universal Church of Light, through their director, me, Reverend Crystal Cox, ordered public records for my victim advocacy work, hate crimes, lawsuits, documentaries, books, and the city stalled that. Okay, they've stalled justice for the victims because they didn't just in Washington state law, when you ignore a public record, it's the same as denying it. Okay, I know a ton about public records laws in Washington, tons and tons of case law, because I've been dealing with these guys for a while now. Okay, so who's in charge of the city of Port Townsend? It's a manager style government. So Morrow is in charge. Morrow is the boss of the city attorney. Morrow is the boss of the public records officer. Morrow is the boss of the clerks. They pretend that city council has a vote, but if you watch Morrow, baby talks him. Okay, now I'm going to steer you guys towards what I want. So let me frame it for you, right? You notice him doing that, like Big Daddy. So even though city council seems to be independent thinkers, they're not. Maybe some of them are, but anyway, so into 2024, I didn't get any public records at all that the church ordered. Okay, again, they say that the Universal Church of Light has no standing. They say some entity named Crystal Cox ordered the public records, and she's the thing. I've never ordered any public records in the name Crystal Cox. Okay, Reverend Crystal Cox is a DBA with the church. I've ordered in. It's always all over all my emails. All my public record stuff is Universal Church of Light. So when I say I in this video, I mean I as the entity Reverend Crystal Cox, Universal Church of Light, and that's a big deal because the city says that the church has no standing, right? Okay, so if you were suing a business downtown for something they did, or suing a cop, or you're in a divorce, or you're in a custody battle, or any sort of legal case, maybe you've been charged with drug paraphernalia, or there's a land dispute, all of these, you go to court and you have a certain amount of discovery. You have things you need to prove. You have witnesses. You have you kind of have one side and the other. Well, in a public records case, you don't. They either follow the public records law or they didn't. So for the city to deny me public records all of 2024, deliberately and maliciously, they violated the Public Records Act. For Morrow to tell the public records officer not to give public records to Reverend Crystal Cox, Universal Church of Light, that's a felony. That's a violation of the public records. It's bad faith. The city attorney who works for Morrow is protecting him, is arguing, flat out lying in court documents that the city acted in good faith. The city communicated with me. Yeah, the city communicated with me in 2023. They're pretending they communicated with me all along. They didn't. They've even suggested they communicated with me, they told my attorney on the phone, outside of the next, the portal, the official portal online. So what, they ran into me at the grocery store or something? A flat out lie. The public records officer has stated in a sworn document that she's been doing clerk duties and so she didn't have time. Well, I think it's 3293 ordinance that was in July of 2022. They used to do that, but since July of 2022, it's been a designated public records officer. She doesn't do clerk jobs, and if they have her doing clerk jobs, that's against city ordinance, okay? The public records officer said she was in communication with me. She wasn't. They've made her perjure herself. I don't understand, okay? So Morrow is the big god down there, and he's making the city attorney lie, making the public records officer lie, and everybody's lying to protect him. But this isn't just a regular case. This isn't like a civil rights lawsuit or a First Amendment lawsuit, and they're going to get plenty of those. Okay? This isn't, let's interpret the law. The law says they have to communicate with the requester, and they have to give them documents or deny documents or whatever. They didn't communicate with me at all. They didn't communicate with anybody from the church. They didn't give any documents. They didn't speak to me in any way in all of 2024, except in February, I went into City Hall. I met Haley and the really awesome receptionist there, Jessie, and I paid for a public record. That was from the year before. I just hadn't got into town yet since December. I have extreme PTSD from the press conference, and I don't go to town much. So, anywho, I paid for it, and she's like, okay, I'll release it to, get to you that day. They'd already found everything. No communication, no release of documents. The Port Townsend leader reported that Reverend Crystal Cox ordered 48 public records and blah, blah. I never got one of those. I didn't get a communication of a timeline. I got an automatic acknowledgement from the system that said that it was answered. That was auto, but they didn't give me a timeline. They didn't say, oh, we're really busy. Heidi's left. This is going on. We're busy. We need some time. No communication, no documents. The city, their defense right now is they were busy. Heidi left, the former city attorney. Haley's busy doing clerk jobs. Crystal's just ordered too many, right? But it was a year and a half. They were old. They were piling up, right? They weren't. And so that's their defense. And that's what the city attorney is defending. Reverend Crystal Cox Universal Church of Light has no standing. And the public records officer was too busy because of all these other reasons. And the city communicated with Crystal. And so the city acted in good faith. That's their defense. Okay. So let's take a look at the Brent Shirley complaint, with the complaint against Tomorrow. It was in the newspaper 2-3 times. And at least 2 of the times, the paper quoted Brent, and the paper talked about public records that Brent Shirley had got about different things to do with Morrow's resume interview. And he got rejections on some things because you can't have a resume of a city of Morrow. You can the public officials. And so, and Haley said, oh, she'd been busy. So she was quoted in the paper, said she's this, and she answered this. So she answered him. The public records officer had time to answer Brent Shirley, and mine were put in a year before that. Okay, so that don't really go for their case. I have an attorney y'all might know, Mark Rondazza, and that Anatomy of a Scanner out there article, that's also from a Rondazza Legal Group attorney in my big free speech case. He's went at me for years. He has a huge judgment against me, a default judgment. Fought it best I can. So he stalks me and harasses me. So the Salish Rescue people were going at me really hard in March. We'll talk about that in a sec. And so they contacted him and told him about the church's settlement in March to do with the incident action plan from the police that we were trying to get for the night of the press conference. So they told him somehow Salish Rescue got the public record, knew this was going on, knew there was a settlement, knew how much, knew where I banked, knew everything. They told the attorney, Mark Rondazza. Mark Rondazza was able to get the public record from the city of Port Townsend, where my church banks, how much the settlement was for, who was involved, and what it was about. They gave people public records to use against me in various court cases, but didn't give me any public records and didn't give me any communication. Okay. Salish Rescue went at me in March because I was trying to protect a victim. I'm doing my own thing and my victim's rights stuff. Salish Rescue decided to come in and intimidate me. Libby Winstrom and all of Salish Rescue came to court to go against the victim of domestic violence, which was Jenny Ellison, and they all shut her down. The Judge Rimson, corrupt. Judge Mindy Walker, corrupt. They all, they gave public records, or they gave protective orders against the Salish Rescue abusive men. The rape apologists, the bad guys, gave them protective orders against Jenny Ellison, their victim, and me for telling on it. Made me remove an interview online that incriminated Salish Rescue. Lorraine Remsen made me, violated my First Amendment rights, but I couldn't afford to fight it. Made me remove an interview that Salish Rescue sank Touchstone, the people that they'd robbed, the different rapes within Salish Rescue over the years, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Lorraine Remsen protected them. They issued protective orders against the YMCA manager. She's on the board of Salish Rescue. I can't even say her name. She has a protective order against me. And so it's called prior restraint, and it's illegal, unconstitutional. But I could only afford to fight it so much. And I only fought one of them, and I fought it only from District Court Mendes to Max Court. And he, if you've seen my videos out there, he kept the protective order against Salish Rescue member, this man, particular man, I can't say his name, and the YMCA manager. Said that I'd harassed them because I was posting public records, but I can post public records, and accused me of, you'll see out there that Judge Max said that I was condoning putting Salish Rescue in body bags. So the interviewer guy said that Salish Rescue members hadn't done anything stupid enough yet to end up in body bags. I posted the interview. I told the police how dangerous he was. I told Commissioner Forbes, Rimson, Mack, Walker, the Dove House, the sheriff's deputies, the city police, how dangerous this man was. And because I was telling them he was dangerous and posting it online and trying to get help, I was somehow condoning him doing it. Didn't investigate the guy, didn't look into Salish Rescue, but punished me. Judge Mack did that in an order. Okay? So when Salish Rescue was doing all this, they were able to get public records. March 2024. They got public records on how many records I ordered against each of them, what I asked for. They got a whole bunch of public records about me to use against me, but the city was not giving me any public records or even bothering to communicate with me. The city attorney continues to argue they acted in good faith. This is bad faith. It's felony. It's deliberately withholding public records maliciously for one party they don't like. Okay, this is discrimination. This is prejudice. This is where $100 a day, okay, for 12,000 days comes in. This is where punitive damage comes in. They gave all these people records about me, but nothing for me. Okay, so then the paper said, yeah, she got, 48. None of those got answered. So a lot of people, attorneys, newspapers were getting public records. Now, newspapers don't have any more rights than me. See my court case, Obsidian versus Cox 2024, or Obsidian versus Cox 2014. I have equal rights to any journalist in any institutional press, and so do you. They don't have more rights than the other requesters. Attorneys don't have more rights than the other requesters. Okay? Prosecutors might, but the police might because they're in their system. But for them to give them to the newspaper, give them to attorneys, give them to Salish Rescue, give them to an attorney that was suing me, giving them to Salish Rescue thugs going after me, giving them to Brent Shirley, giving them to all these other people, and ignoring me completely and deliberately, and then going, we acted in good faith and we was too busy. But you weren't too busy for them. Okay, so in June, we filed a lawsuit to get them to start producing public records because the victims are waiting. I, as many know, have provided all of the public records in the Julie Jamon case. And I have provided information showing how the YMCA and the city conspired. I discovered, the Fury, the PR company. I got the voicemail. I got the 911 calls. I got all that. Okay? That's Julie Jamon. The people at the press conference are victims of civil rights and First Amendment violations. They have massive civil rights lawsuits. En masse, okay, class action civil rights lawsuits against the police, the city of Port Townsend, all the nonprofits that engaged, okay? But they can't move forward to get any remedy in their injuries that they have. And the prosecutors and nobody being prosecuted and all these felony hate crimes ignored, they have rights, civil rights. So in order for a civil rights lawsuit to happen, and the city knows this, I need those public records. Okay? You think the Julie Jamon case is the stop? No. There's a much bigger case coming at you. Stay tuned. So I'm waiting patiently for a year and a half. Being patient. Nothing. So we sue them in June, and then they go, well, no, we didn't this, and we didn't that, and we didn't this. But first of all, they waited 2 months to even answer. We had to file a default judgment. Then when they answered, they said, well, Universal Church of Light has no standing. We were busy, all the reasons I told you. And then they ignored it. Then they made a global settlement offer, right? Because we only went in for like a couple of them. We're like, okay, well, let's do these two. They made a global settlement offer for all of them. And so they entered them all into the case. And we did an amended complaint. And they're all in the case now. And now the city's like, well, you need to stop ordering them. You need to stop this. You need to, like, completely bullying me, bullying my attorney, violating my rights under the Public Records Act, trying to harangue me. You can order as many public records as you want. You can do whatever you want with them, okay? The city attorney bullying people on behalf of the city manager, Morrow, who's got to go because he's pure dark, is a felony. It is wrong. It is definitely bad faith. So over and over, court document, court document, court document, court document. The city attorney says that the city acted in good faith. They say they communicated with me. It's all right there. They're refusing to produce a record that shows that they answered other people. But we can see it in the newspaper. All the examples I just gave you, that's only a small fraction of other people they were answering. Well, they're too busy. They're just too busy to answer this one requester. That's bad faith. But they keep saying in documents in court, we acted in good faith, we acted in good faith, They didn't. They broke the law maliciously, intentionally, deliberately. They committed felonies. They acted in bad faith. They're on the hook for punitive damages. What they've done to these victims by holding this up, what they've done to prejudice my church, for what? Religious discrimination? Because I stuck up for Julie Jamon? Because I'm standing up for the victims? Yeah. Because I'm filing ethics complaints? Yeah. They want to shut down one requester, and they're claiming it's in good faith. So it's Universal Church of Light versus the City of Port Townsend, if you want to look it up online. And right now where we're at is the city wants a mediation. Okay? But they've rejected offers that are reasonable. They've made offers that are unreasonable and bullied and lied. They lied and said they communicated with me. They didn't. Okay, they're bullying a requester. They lied about what Haley's position is. They've lied about not filling other people's, and now they want a mediation. Okay, well, do they want a secret mediation? Confidential so the public don't know? Well, I won't do it. I won't do it. I am a director of Universal Church of Light, otherwise known as Bringing Back God as Church. It's a public benefit corporation. I'm not going to do some secret deal in the corner when all the rest of you are out there. There's other people who are suffering at their discrimination and their bullying. So if they want a quiet, confidential, you shut up mediation and hand me peanuts when they violated the public records law, discriminated against me for 1.5 years, me alone, okay, this one church, this one nonprofit, this one requester, and then they want to cover it up in some secret mediation deal. No. They need to be fair. They need to obey the law, okay? They did it. They need to pay $100 a day for 12,000 days, plus attorney fees, plus punitive. And then I need those documents, and then we're going to get some justice for those victims who are suffering, okay? So there's just kind of my thinking on that, whether you wanted to know or you didn't want to know. But if you're still here listening, you must have wanted to know. So I guess that's all I got. See you later. Bye.